All right. Good morning, brothers. Audio good. Y'all can hear me pretty well?
Boy,
Yeah.
All right. All right. All right. So today is Sunday, Feb 28th. And the title for our reflection today is Game, Recognized Game. Great work requires great intel. We're going to come out of the book of Nehemiah, chapter 4, verses 11 through 16. I'll jump around a little bit. And our enemies said, they will not know or see anything before we come upon them and kill them and stop the work. That's the part that I highlight. And stop the work. When the Jews who lived near them came, they said to us, from all the places where they live, they will come up against us. So, this is Nehemiah talking. I stationed the people according to their families with their swords, their spears, and their bows. From that day on, half my servants worked on construction, and half held the spears, shields, bows, and body armor. So I have to say, as I work on these reflections every week, I think about whatever's on my mind, and I do get a little concerned that sometimes it feels like I'm coming with so many topics about essentially defending whatever it is that we're working on, and I don't want you brothers to be worried about me and feel like y'all need to have an intervention that there's something going on, but I have to admit that that is a space where I am right now, thinking a lot about defending what I'm working on, defending the future of myself and my family, and I feel like if I can relate to it, I imagine that other brothers on this call can relate to it. Brother Chris talking about running to be governor of Arkansas. I mean, that's going to take a lot of defending the greatness that you feel called to, brother. And again, I think that we can all relate to, no matter what we're doing, that feeling that our greatness is indeed threatened and sometimes under attack. As Black people, many of us husbands and fathers, it's pretty easy to make the case of why we might feel like we have to be ever vigilant about protecting what and whom we love and what and whom we're nurturing to grow, what and whom we are building. But in my observation of life, this need to defend goes beyond race. It goes beyond modern day America. Arguably, it even goes beyond being human. We have lots of enemies. Other people being the least of them, really. Most of us ought to be in an all-out death match with our own lethargy, our own apathy. Whether we like it or not, everybody on this call is doing battle with Father Time in the aging process. We ought to charge out to meet on the battlefield those intergenerational struggles that our grandfathers died fighting. And every single one of us needs to be in an all out war with the imposter syndrome that makes us think that even after we've jumped through all the hoops that this world has set up for us, sometimes internally we still have that feeling that we're still somehow not enough. We need to be in all out war with that whole syndrome. Um, so while the world is set up to encourage this balanced ecosystem, that ecosystem requires us to defend against all of the myriad forces that would take from us and from our children. I'll share with you all a very lighthearted story, but I think it'll illustrate the point. So my wife and I have a bird feeder in the front yard, right? We love to watch these beautiful birds come in. They fly in beautiful colors, and it's almost like we have an arrangement with the birds, right? We like for you all, we appreciate you bringing your beauty close enough for us to observe it, and we will pay you for that beauty with free bird seed. But guess who else likes bird seed? The squirrel.
Squirrels.
Not any beautiful, squirrels, plain old garden variety brown squirrels. And they will do whatever they can. They are pretty creative and ingenious. I got to give it to them to get to that bird seed, right? So if you've ever seen that movie Caddyshack, and y'all remember Bill Murray's character going after the gopher on the golf course, that's pretty much me and these doggone squirrels, right? But here's the thing: those squirrels, they're not racist squirrels. They're not out to destroy the ambiance I'm trying to create in the yard because they don't want to see a brother enjoying birds in his yard. They're just being squirrels. They're doing what squirrels do. Now, listen, that's admittedly a pretty silly story, but I hope it makes a point. The weeds are coming after your garden. The squirrels are coming after your seeds. The coyotes are coming after Brother Willis's poor chickens. And if you're living their lives, listen, it's not personal, right? If you were living their lives, you would be doing the exact same thing. They're just a form of life that wants to live and grow and thrive, just like each one of us is trying to do. Now, another area where I think this competition, this issue of competition, is well illustrated is in sports. Now, as sophisticated human beings living in this polite society, we've learned to disguise the ways in which we go after the corner office, the big piece of chicken, even the most attractive and most desirable mate. We develop all these indirect, obfuscated methods of subterfuge, right? To be competitive but polite at the same time. But sports operate under a whole different set of rules, which is probably why sports are so popular. When you're watching football, you're watching raw, unadulterated competition, one side versus the other, them versus us versus them. And I think our human brains crave that level of unadulterated, unvarnished gladiatorship, if you will. But I think sports give us another gift in exploring the different pieces of our relationship with competition. The sports commentator. And I want to point out one legendary sports commentator in particular, John Madden. Now, this is before the video games and all that stuff. John Madden made his name for himself. He became famous for his over-the-top usage of the telestrator. This is a thing that they mark on the screen to show you, the wide receivers running this way and the guards blocking that way. And John Madden, he just became, he was one of a kind. A lot of people use it, but nobody did it the way that John Madden did it. And that's an image I want you all to have in your mind when we discuss this passage in Nehemiah, where he gets a word that his enemies are plotting to kill him and his people, not because they don't like Nehemiah, but because they want to stop his work. That part, again, is so important. They want to stop the work. So picture John Madden all excited. He's red in the face, huffing and puffing, and diagramming out on the telestrator what Nehemiah's enemies are up to. Nehemiah knew he had to get his game tight because some of his folks came to tell him about what his enemies were scheming on. In the words of Biggie, they schooled him to the intricate plot. Now, Nehemiah, as leader of his people, is in a position to protect what he's building while he's continuing to build it. And like Nehemiah, the biggest part of our success in building for our legacy is defending what we are building long enough for it to get dope. We don't have time to let the intricate plots of our enemies throw us off of what we're trying to build. So we need our John Maddens in our lives who can help us diagram out just what plays the enemy is running. And here's what I love about this passage in Nehemiah so much. One of my favorite sermons is a sermon by C.L. Franklin, who was Aretha Franklin's dad. In the sermon's called A Great Work. He's preaching on the 6th chapter of Nehemiah. Keep in mind, we're talking about the 4th chapter today. He's preaching about the 6th chapter, so just a little bit ahead in the text. And in that text, Nehemiah has made great progress on the wall, right? He's up on top of the wall, building and supervising the construction. And these same enemies, same folks, send him a message saying, hey, congratulations on all the progress you're making on that wall. But listen, man, you're the leader. You shouldn't be up there on that wall with the lowly workers. Come on down off the wall, man. Come hang out with us. We want to have a feast for you to celebrate this great progress, right? And Nehemiah sends back a message that he can't come down off the wall to have a feast with those. He's not even talking about them as enemies, but I can't come down and have a feast with y'all right now because I'm on the wall doing a great work. He tells them, I can't come down off the wall and hang out with y'all, have a feast with y'all, because I'm busy doing a great work. And that's the point of Reverend Franklin's sermon, that whatever we're working on, we should consider it to be such a great work that we refuse to let anyone or anything distract us from doing it. But here's the thing. By the time they sent that nice, seemingly innocent and friendly message to Nehemiah in chapter 6, he has already peeped their whole playbook in chapter 4 in the passage that we're talking about today. And the takeaway for us from both of these passages in Nehemiah, my crazy squirrel story, Willis's lost chickens, the weeds in our garden, the brothers trying to stick Biggie for his papers, our ongoing fight against COVID, and most importantly, our enduring fight for the health and wealth of ourselves and our families, is that you have to know how the enemy moves. So when you get to the chapter 6 moment when they're inviting you over with all forms of flattery, you already know what that's all about. You already know that what they're really trying to do is to stop your progress. But like Nehemiah, let their invitation, their intricate plot, find you unable to join them because you are too busy doing a great work. Now, as is our custom, we end our weekly reflection. As we end our weekly reflection, I ask that you would all join me in this intention for our time together, and we'll do it responsorially as we always do. Let us be intentional that our broga practice might be a living metaphor for our life practice. And so it is our intention. Let us be intentional to see the challenges and competition in our lives, both on and off the yoga mat, from an ecological perspective. Even if our enemies are actively plotting against us, who cares? This is never about them. We just need to understand them and how they operate well enough to stop them